763. Now, your host for Public Pulse, Floyd Whiting.
Good morning and welcome to Public Pulse, brought to you by our friends out there at First Federal Bank and Trust. Joining me this morning is Sheridan Community Land Trust Director of Marketing and Development, Mr. Chris Verba. Good morning, Chris.
Great morning,
It is a great
Floyd.
morning.
It's been a bit. I got a question for you real quick.
Fire away.
If you were a bag of chips, what type of chip would you be?
I think I'd be that Pringles cans. Why do you ask?
Because it's easy to get stuck trying to get to the last one with you.
They're just my favorite. Yeah.
Okay. I ask because I was told this morning by someone very special to me that I am all that and a bag of chips. And my immediate response was, awesome. I'm so glad I'm a Funyun.
Funyuns, that's a good one to choose.
Well, I'm fluffy, I'm crunchy, and on a good day, I smell like onions.
Nice. How was your holidays, my friend?
It was pretty excellent.
Yeah.
Had a good time, got to see some new places. Spent a little time up in upstate New York and in the New York City area.
Oh, wow.
And had me some solid bagel. They, for whatever reason, try to get you to put ketchup on it.
Wow, really?
I understand that. Yeah, if you do like a bagel sandwich with like egg and cheese and stuff like that, salt, pepper, ketchup.
Wow.
Hard pass on that piece of it for me,
so.
but the rest of it was pretty dang excellent.
So you did quite a bit of traveling.
Yeah, and I even had an opportunity to stand outside the WWE headquarters. So, it was a Royal Rumble for me in my chest for that.
Nice. Very
nice.
nice.
They did not let visitors in. It was a surreptitious thing as we were going up and down the interstate. We went to an aquarium and
nice.
It's absolutely fantastic. And so I saw a really cool waterfall. The places you get to discover. We got to walk down towards it, and it was all coming over, and there was like ice seeps coming out. So it's really neat stuff.
So what I know of you, you really enjoy being outside. You really enjoy being, near a stream that you can throw a line in. That's kind of the lifestyle that you love. But how did you grow up? Did you grow up near like a metropolis or something like that and then just make the decision, I'm not going to live that way?
No, I grew up in the town of Pocahontas, Iowa, which is 1,700 people in a county of 6,700 people. So outside is very familiar.
I
was a town kid, but definitely spent a lot of time outside. I was always out fishing and playing around outside. Pretty typical growing up for a guy in the late 80s and early 90s. Played the football, did the wrestling, both the amateur and the backyard versions, and played basketball until I stopped growing taller and kept being slower.
So going to the big city, I mean, that's like a new experience, because it's like a new experience for me. It's like visiting a different culture. You got to remember that, this is the side of America that I just don't really know that well.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I always promised myself, I will live in a big city one day. And the older I get, I find I'm like, well, why the heck would I ever want to do that? It's just, I am where everybody wants to be, right here in Sheridan County.
Yeah.
And with the environment, the mountains, the availability, to go out and do whatever I want up in the mountains. I mean, it's something that a lot of people don't have.
Well, we call it the beautiful Bighorn's backyard around these parts.
Yeah.
But it is fantastic to have, our big yard is what people aspire to, right? And pay a lot of money to come out here and hang out in. And we get the benefit of being able to explore it pretty much about whenever we want.
Yeah.
Right? But I know that big city of Laramie was, too hustle and bustle for you, Floyd.
Well, I'll tell you, it was probably one of the biggest cities I've ever lived in. And it was just big enough. It had the convenience of kind of the city. You could go get food at all hours of the night. You could, and you had the choices that were there. But at the same time, you could head out to the Blue Mountains, which were right over the way, and you could be out of town and away from people in less than a half hour. So I still, even here in Wyoming, our big cities aren't really so
They're small towns.
Yeah, they're small towns.
They
really.
truly
Yeah.
are. And you don't, I wound up staying in a little town in New Jersey called Hoboken, and it's like directly over the river from Manhattan. Right?
Wow.
And it is 1 square mile, and it's 60,000 people, and it is buttholes to elbows.
Yeah.
There.
I mean,
And,
1 square mile, 60,000 people.
Yep.
My goodness.
Yep. There's still some cool places there, but there's Stevens is the name of the college, and it's right on the water, and it's an absolutely beautiful place that you can go stand at night and look out over the city lights, and that's a different kind of beauty than what we have here.
Yeah.
And so much of it becomes like, what type of beauty do you really enjoy? And, I feel glad that I can, stand on both sides of them and appreciate both.
Yeah.
But, I mean, being able to be outdoors and out in nature with regular, easy contact to it, that's such an important thing we have here. You talk about nature, wildlife, open spaces, and growing up in rural Iowa, open spaces was something a concept I was really familiar with. We have open space out there, but it's all corn and bean fields.
I was going to say, but it's all agriculture. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's agriculture is at the core of it. My old man was a career ag ed teacher in 3 different school districts, and of course was the FFA chapter advisor. So I had my blue denim jacket.
Yeah.
And spent a lot of time doing ag activities. And even though we lived in town, because we were, my family has farmsteads in the northeast part of the state, we wound up in the northwest part of the state. So that experience there, agriculture is very familiar, but the concept of open space certainly wasn't in the way it was until I got out here. And once you get out here, holy cow, look at everything you can see. It's just everything in your viewscapes is just phenomenal. And thankfully, we have a lot of folk who are out there committed to protecting that type of open space in that rural way of life that we've come to really enjoy and depend upon out here. And, what's really special is coming up next Wednesday on January 25th up at the YO Theater. We have an opportunity where we have the good grace to be able to present the My Wildland film screening up at the YO Theater, and that features stories of 3 Wyoming ranch families who have committed to preserving the Western way of life and wildlife habitat through conservation. And it's going to be an absolutely fantastic opportunity for people to come down.
Now, when it comes to this documentary film, it's My Wildland. We really, growing up in this situation, growing up in Wyoming, maybe even being a local right here in Sheridan, we tend to, and I'm not going to say take it for granted, but we get very used to the idea of walking out and seeing our mountains. Boom, there they are. And we have to try and think that there are individuals who, believe it or not, rarely see trees even. It exists. In that massive urban sprawl, it can be very difficult to find just the simplest of identifiers of nature and wild. And it's just such an alien concept for them. So when they see a film like this and they learn about Wyoming and they see those open spaces and how we're trying to, a lot of people are out there making a lot of efforts to conserve that. It's almost like looking at the landscape or back in time when, people think this is basically gone. And I'm not saying a bunch of them, but a lot of them, or as alien as the surface of Mars to some of these people. So this film and the documentary and the stories that are told within it could really give them an idea of what we are trying to protect and perhaps garner some support behind that. Is that kind of the intention of this documentary film, to help with conservation efforts? Would you say that was their goal with this series?
I can't speak for the filmmakers because I didn't make the films, right? but the imagery you see in the stories of the films are the type of things that speak to your soul.
Yeah.
So, or at least, certainly speak to the rural soul, right? And I guess I would look at the films much more from the perspective of they're a celebration of the ranching lifestyle and a celebration of survival and grit and, select a descriptor for a Wyoming value, right? Toughness, tenacity, stick-to-itness, shrewdness. All of these, care for the land, love of what's around you, family, friends, wildlife. That's what these films are about. So really, while we certainly would love to have folks who maybe are new to Wyoming come out and folks who just don't have much connection to ranching and ranch life to come out and see a window into something that's around them, but not necessarily something they're engaging in on a day-to-day basis. We absolutely want that. But more importantly, we know folks in our community are exactly the type of folks that are highlighted in here with the Bischoff Ranch and the Hellier family. And I'm sorry, the Terry Creek Ranch.
Yeah.
And, I suspect a lot of folks out here can see themselves in the stories of these families and really see the inspiring things that they've gone through and chose to do on behalf of conservation, preserving Wyoming heritage, and especially our wildlife out here.
Yeah.
Wildlife, be it deer, especially mule deer, elk, moose, pronghorn, sage grouse, all that is so, it's so synonymous with what Wyoming is.
Yeah.
And
the imagery.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, this film series, and I apologize, I didn't even say when it starts. That starts at 6:30 on Wednesday, January 25th. Doors open at the YO at 6 o'clock. Your admission is free. We've partnered with the Wildlife Fund and the Nature Conservancy in Wyoming in order to make this possible.
Fantastic.
There's even going to be a panel reception for it as well. We have opening remarks from Gregory Nickerson of the the Wyoming Migration Initiative. Easy for me to say, right? And Gregory has done some fantastic filmmaking work, and folks around here may know who he is. He's a Bighorn native who's, really spent a whole lot of time delving into Wyoming culture, history, and wildlife, and really helping tell the tale of what Wyoming is. So we're thrilled to have Gregory up here for that. Our panel discussion is going to talk about conservation, wildlife, and ranching too, and how all those intermingle. Of course, my boss, Brad Bauer, our executive director at SCLT, will be part of that. We also have Kale Sentry Reno, who is the executive director of the Wyoming Wilderness Association. She's a board member of the Plank Stewardship Initiative, so that's sustainable agriculture and ranching, right? Really important stuff. And she's the chair for the Ag and Natural Resources and Public Lands Committee. So, Casey really knows tons and tons about this stuff and has a ton of experience and valuable perspective. She grew up on the shores of the Little Horn River.
Yeah. So we can attend this film and kind of get a general idea of some of the power of the conservation of land and really get a window into just exactly what we are protecting when we make those decisions to conserve this land and keep it within the hands of the ranchers, the hands of the farmers, through these conservation efforts. And a lot of those are actually taking place at Sheridan Community Land Trust. And we'll talk about that a little bit when we come back. We will continue. And with the Sheridan Community Land Trust, this is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
Federal Bank and Trust would like to recognize this week's winner of $1,000 and a $1,000 marketing donation match from Sheridan Media. As part of their community commitment, the Food Group is receiving these funds per random drawing.
Could your organization be next? We're giving $1,000 to a qualified nonprofit organization every week. Visit our website, efirstfederal.bank, for details. First Federal Bank and Trust and Sheridan Media present Community Commitment, member FDIC.
You deserve to hear better and live well. Hi, this is Elizabeth.
And JT Kraft from EBIA Hearing and Sound. With recent developments in over-the-counter hearing aids, we want to make sure you are cared for and have the information you deserve.
FDA-approved OTCs are designed for adults with mild to moderate hearing loss. But how do you know if you fall into this range? We understand and can accommodate your desire to purchase a simple solution, but want you to know how important provider care is for your outcome. Where will you go if something fails? Can you adjust your devices if your hearing loss changes?
We have amplified hearing protection and basic OTC devices starting at $399. But we also fit prescriptive hearing aids tailored to your loss, which may ultimately serve you best, and that is our goal. Funding and financing options are available.
Visit us at 1273 Coffeen Avenue, online at ebiahearing.com, check our ad in the Country Bounty, or call 674-8920. That's 674-8920.
Was one of your New Year's resolutions taking better care of your car? It all starts with maintenance, and Midas Tire and Auto's here to help you start off the new year right. Midas has money-saving offers on what it takes to keep your vehicle running smoothly, from oil changes to changing fluids. Make your car last longer by following the maintenance schedule in your owner's manual. Till the end of the month, save an extra 15% on oil changes and recommended maintenance at Midas Tire and Auto in Sheridan.
It's Thursday, and that means it's time for Hot Buys over on SheridanMedia.com. A bunch of items from local vendors, all starting at half off of retail value. This week, you'll find certificates for auto glass chip repair from Novus Glass, a certificate for a 5-night stay with training for one dog to the Country Pet Inn, as well as $30 and $50 gift certificates to Cheesecake Squared. We have those items and a bunch more from vendors all over Sheridan, starting at half off of retail value. Bidding is easy. Just go to SheridanMedia.com, click on the Hot Buys banner, find the items you're looking for, and place your bids. Hurry, though. Bidding ends tonight at 8 p.m.
Remember when your mom used to say, "Don't break your arm," patting yourself on the back? Well, if you ignored her and broke your arm, then the Health Nut is the place for you to get all healthy again. Every inch of the Health Nut can make you feel better about yourself. The soup, sandwich, and deli bar, and smoothie so good you'll forget you even got a broke arm. Remember when your mom used to say you'd forget your head if it wasn't attached to your shoulders? Well, we can't fix that. But most everything else at the Health Nut on Sheridan's 5th Street.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, brought to you by our friends out there at First Federal Bank and Trust. I'm Floyd Whiting. This morning, I am with Chris Verba, the Director of Marketing and Development for the Sheridan Community Land Trust.
A real Funyun.
A real Funyun. Now, we've had conversations regarding the upcoming documentary series that will be shown at the YO Theater on January 25th. That's a Wednesday. This is free admission. My Wild Land. And Chris, this starts at 7 p.m., correct?
6:30
6:30 p.m.
Yeah,
There we go.
so
Okay.
there are 3 films and a panel discussion.
3 minutes to your next
We
Fox.
should be out of there somewhere around 8 o'clock that night, would be my guess. I know we have the theater until 8:30, but the films themselves are all short films. They range from 10 to 13 minutes, and there'll be panel discussion with some fantastic folks, and we're going to have some of the fancy charcuteries.
Oh, nice, nice. So,
you know, the good old meat and cheese plates. And, and there's going to be popcorn. I believe, I know the meats and cheeses is going to be free. Admission is free. Come on down. You can RSVP for it on our website. That's Sheridan CLT, like communitylandtrust.org. Wednesday, January 25th. Doors at 6. Film start at 6:30. We can't wait to see you there. It's going to be awesome.
now, this can help with your doorway into lunchtime conversations about open spaces. Chris, how involved is the Sheridan Community Land Trust with these lunchtime conversations?
So we are going to be there. we are going to have some of those conversations with folks. It is something that's hosted by the Sheridan Chamber of Commerce Ag and Natural Resources Committee. I have not personally been on any of the planning for that, so I don't know exactly the details, but I do know the first conversation is going to be all around the role of land use planning, which, as we talk about open spaces and my wild lands, all those topics seem to really come together. We've had lots of the role of planning and land use and open spaces is certainly at the front of mind for a lot of folks in our community.
Absolutely.
And, the only way we can really make decisions as a community is to first have those conversations as a community. And this is part of that learning process. So these are going to happen there from 12 to 1 at Luminous Brew House. Bring lunch if you'd like. Certainly stop in there and grab a brew. Come on, who doesn't want to have a little bit of a beverage over lunch? You can get kombucha too. It's delicious. These are going to be the fourth Tuesday of every month through April. So we're excited to be part of them and be there and listen and work with folks.
And these are going to be conversations regarding all kinds of land use issues here within Sheridan County. You want to be part of those conversations, especially if you're involved or concerned about any kind of development. Since sitting in this chair, I've heard a lot of callers who've called in with their concerns regarding development and the speed at which it is happening, the speed at which they're watching some things outside change. And as you said, we have to have those conversations because we have to develop. I've spoken with just about every, county and city leadership official. And during those conversations, I want to know, how do we grow? What's the best way to grow? And we have to grow to continue to thrive. But at the same time, we have to do it in a very controlled, timed planning phase. That way we know what's happening and it doesn't start to get out of hand. And we need to hear from individuals in the community who are both for this kind of development, but also those who are more worried about conserving the open spaces. Maybe we don't need to get that large. Maybe we can condense habitat, or maybe we can find other uses for land that we already have. These conversations need to happen as we go forward as a community.
Well, we can't really condense habitat.
Apartment buildings.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Human habitat.
Human habitat.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. Yeah. Working at the land trust, when I hear the word habitat, my mind immediately
you go right to wildlife.
I go right to wildlife. Or, where my heart really is on the fish. I love wildlife too, but boy, I love being able to spend time in the water. Certainly that's the case, right? So when we talk about conserving open spaces, the beauty is there are opportunities and ways in order to be able to do that. At SCLT, we are a conservation land trust, right? And so as part of that mission, one of the things we can do is work with you as a family to help you conserve your local land or ranch and the things you value most, be that keeping that land, ranching land and working land, keeping it open space, keeping it as a place that can be commingled as wildlife habitat, especially if you have deer or elk that come through it, or pronghorn, sage grouse, or a whole number of things, right?
I mean, my goodness.
Or if there's clean water running through the ranch, or, in the case of most of these places, a lot of bit of all of those for,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And so those are things that can be done. Our conservation program manager, Megan Kent, is a fantastic person to talk to, and she has a lot of tools in her tool belt to be able to help you out and help you as a family make the right choice for your land, right? So you can always get a hold of Megan. You can email her, Megan at SheridanCLT, like communitylandtrust.org. You can call us up at 673-4702 here in town. Stop by and see us at 52 South Main. We're right upstairs above the Chamber of Commerce office. Obviously, you can always call or call up our website, right? Get out that Google machine. But so those are all options, right? But so in addition to that type of conservation work we do wildlife friendly fencing. We've done several projects on that. I know more are coming up this year. We have issued our fourth now Sheridan County water supply report. So our January report, which gives you tons of information about snowpack water predictions, drought levels, all the stuff that's important to help make decisions on your land is all accessible and available in one place.
Where do we find that real quick?
SheridanCLT.org/water. So it's right there, and it's on the top of our website. You can sign up and get it directly in your email each month. Once it's released, we'll have a new one in early February.
Chris, one more time, real fast. When and where will the movie My Wild Land be viewable? Only got about 30, 45 seconds.
WYO Theater, Wednesday, January 25th. Film start at 6:30. Also, go to our website, check out Explore History for February. It's the Iron Riders. It's about the bicycle experiment from 125 years ago. February 14th at the Hub. February 21st at TRVCC, and that's 10:30 to noon. The Hub has a Zoom option. You can RSVP for that, RSVP for My Wild Land. And hey, Together We Bloom. Thank you, everybody in our community. You helped us raise $205,000 over our holiday challenge. It's absolutely fantastic. Thank you, kind people who care.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for coming in today, my friend. I greatly appreciate it. All right, stay tuned for the Fox News Roundup. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE, 103.9 FM. Sheridan.
First Federal Bank and Trust would like to recognize this week's winner of $1,000 and a $1,000 marketing donation match from Sheridan Media. As part of their community commitment, the Food Group is receiving these funds per random drawing.
Could your organization be next? We're giving $1,000 to a qualified nonprofit organization every week. Visit our website, efirstfederal.bank, for details. First Federal Bank and Trust and Sheridan Media present Community Commitment. Member FDIC.
Are you or a loved one facing physical challenges and need to simplify your life, but you're not ready for assisted living? For roughly a third of the cost of assisted living, you can be living at Tumbleweed Terrace Apartments.